Hello, time for another Man in Gray book review. Today's book is The Gunpowder Plot by Sinead Fitzbibbon, published by HarperCollins in 2012. It's 60 pages. This is part of a book series that HarperCollins does called History in an Hour. These are short, usually 60 to 100-page books about either famous historical people or important events in history. In this case, it's about the Gunpowder Plot of 1605 in England. Queen Mary the First was a Catholic, a devout Catholic, and she persecuted the Protestants during her short reign. She executed so many Protestants that she became known as Bloody Mary. Of course, the bar drink is named after her as well. After she died, though, in 1558, she had no children, and after she died, her half-sister Elizabeth became Queen Elizabeth I, and Elizabeth, like her father Henry VIII, was a Protestant, and she in turn began persecuting the Catholics. They were denied certain jobs, they were fined, they were required to swear an oath of allegiance to Elizabeth, and they were the priests were outlawed, priesthood was outlawed, and they were banned from holding Mass. But the Catholics in England largely went underground. A number of priests from France were smuggled into the country, and they began holding masses in secret. And so the Catholicism continued despite Elizabeth's persecution. When Elizabeth died in 1605, she was replaced. She also didn't have any children. She was replaced by the Scottish king, James VI of Scotland, who became James I of England. And for a brief time, there was a feeling that maybe James would let up on the persecution of Catholics and relent a little bit, but their hopes were soon dashed. He made it clear that he was going to maintain the strict ban on Catholicism. And so a number of prominent Catholic noblemen hatched a plot to assassinate James and members of his supporters and try to seize the government in a coup and revert to Catholicism. These people were led by a man named Robert Catesby, and his audacious plan was to put barrels of gunpowder in the cellar underneath the Houses of Parliament. And when the king was there, they were going to set it off, blow up Parliament, kill the king, kill most of his parliamentary supporters, and then in the chaos that followed, they were going to seize power and revert the country to Catholicism. Now, the plot was revealed just a few days before it was to take place. One of the conspirators was a man named Guy Fawkes, who ironically had been raised Protestant but had been converted to Catholicism. He was a soldier who knew a lot about gunpowder, so he was basically put in charge of putting the gunpowder there. He was caught and was tortured repeatedly until he finally, after a few days of torture, revealed the other plotters, and they were rapidly hunted down. Some of them were killed in a shootout. The others were arrested, put on trial, tortured, and then hanged, and then drawn and quartered. Now, after the plot was foiled, King James issued a proclamation declaring that every November 5th, which was the day the plot was supposed to take place, every November 5th was to be marked as a day of solemn thanksgiving and remembrance for the failure of the plot, kind of like American Thanksgiving. But the British common folk saw this as an excuse to have a big party, so they began lighting huge bonfires throughout the country and drinking heavily that night. This became known as Guy Fawkes Day. Even though Guy Fawkes was not the leader of the plot, he became kind of the face of the rebellion, and the plot to kill the king. And so this November 5th to this day is known as Guy Fawkes Day as an excuse to light bonfires and drink a lot and have a party. Now this short book explains the motivation of the conspirators, why they hatched such an audacious plan. It explains what happened that foiled the plot, how close it came to being carried out, and what foiled it. And what happened to all the conspirators, and the long-term effects on the Catholic minority as the plot failed. One of the things conspirators were counting on, is that the Catholics in England would rally to their cause, but that didn't happen. A lot of the Catholics thought that they had gone too far in trying to kill the king, and so that didn't happen. You see this in other terrorist attacks throughout history. The terrorists think that when they pull off a terrorist attack, their supporters will rally to them, but oftentimes that doesn't happen. So, if you're interested in this particular fascinating bit of English history, or just in history in general, you'll really enjoy this brief but well-written book. It's called The Gunpowder Plot by Sinead Fitzgibbon. This has been another Man in Gray book review. Thanks for watching.